On one rainy day, Ren, an academy student, is complaining about his loss to a rock, paper, scissors, which led him to buy pokers for his dorm companions. While on his way, he suddenly saw a girl falling from the sky. He tries to catch the girl before she tumbles, but when he succeeds, the collision sends him down as well. He ends up kissing the unknown girl as a result of the accident. The two were stunned by what had occurred, and Ren instantly stood up and apologized. He felt he swallowed something as he gulped, before asking the girl if she's okay. The beautiful girl mesmerized his sight after he sees her. After a short while, the girl also stands up, but all of a sudden, she grabs Ren's shirt while asking him to give back what he took. Ren shakes her off and angrily denies that he took something. Instead of being grateful, the girl arrogantly says that she didn't even want him to save and of course kiss her. Ren explains that it was only an accident and denies again her accusation. The girl didn't give up and wants to prove it with an examination. The people in the vicinity gossips about them. They accuse Ren of stealing as an excuse to flirt with the girl. Meanwhile, the girl touched Ren's body to look for something. The people around them see it, so they assume that they're just couples having fun. Ren yells at her to stop, but just before he asks her what exactly did she lost, he sensed an excruciating pain on his belly. The girl approaches him and tells him that he'll die if he didn't return what he took. Suddenly, he lightly pushes her, but she got blown away to a distance. Just when he wonders why he suddenly got strange strength, he noticed his fingers turning green. Unfortunately, the people around him saw it too. He asks the girl to stop making a scene as he complains about the sudden pain he's experiencing. All of a sudden, a black luxurious car arrived at the scene. From it, men in suits and sunglasses boarded the way down. An old man walks towards them and surprisingly bows down to the girl, who he referred to as Z. He informs her that his master instructed them to take her home, and while at it, he invites Ren too. Z agrees, hoping that they can teach him a lesson for snatching her stuff. Just as he begins to fear for his survival, two muscular men approach and threaten him. Inside the building owned by Manga Group, guys in black suits lined up to welcome Z home. Confused by what's happening, cold sweat runs from Ren as he asks Z if her father is Zhao, the famous terrifying CEO of the Manga Group. It turns out that his speculation is right when Z smiles mischievously while introducing herself as Zhao's daughter. This information made Ren nervous while thinking that he messed with a daughter of a very powerful man. Eventually, the large doors within their sight, and after numbers appeared, they made it into the entrance. Ren's spirit tries to escape his body when numerous important people gave him a cold stare. Regardless, he tries to be dauntless and walked past the big door bravely. When he arrived, he saw a big intimidating man in the room. Zhao inquired Ren's identity with a stern gaze, and he nervously responded. He trembled when Zhao asked him if he ate his daughter's internal core, and all he can express is that it was unknown to him. Zhao's menacing aura strengthens, but surprisingly, what he did after is to smile and tell Ren he'll need to marry his daughter. Z hears the abrupt declaration and yells at his father to complain. Zhao merely grins and comforts her daughter because he imagined she was just delighted. After that, his demeanor suddenly changed. He then asked Ren whether his body hurt, and green skin appeared on his wrists. Ren was puzzled as to how he knew it. Zhao reveals that it is because he ate Z's dragon core. He tells him that it is the dragon tribe's power source, and it helps them fly and change the world. Zhao showed him a presentation of his power, but because it is unbelievable, he only thought of it as a hologram of some sorts. With a serious tone, Zhao shows Ren what'll happen if a human like him eats a dragon core. The representation forms an imperfect circle. The circle unstably changed its form, and afterwards, it blew up. Ren was taken aback, but he knew right away what it meant. He would die. Zhao goes back to the topic and asks him what he thinks of the marriage. Not even amused, he told him that Z is childish, rude, spoiled, and self-centered. Z heard all of it, and she immediately blew her fuse, but Zhao stopped her. He tells Ren that as a dragon, Z can't cultivate their arts or return to her true form without her core. After that, he cries as he reveals that she can also die. In the worst-case scenario, Ren was surprised and concerned. Even how ill-tempered she is, he still doesn't want to be the cause of her death. Because of that, he suggests to just take the core from him and give it back to Z. But Zhao told him that because his human aura affected it, it can go worse if they return it to Z directly. Furious, Ren yells to Zhao his concern. Zhao was touched deeply by his behavior and finally thought he's nice. Zhao suddenly caressed Ren's hair to assure him she'll survive if he married his daughter. Ren is hesitant because of the age difference, but Zhao told him they can just be engaged at first. He also instructs him to cultivate and strengthen their arts until he can give the half of the core to Z while they make love to each other. This method surprised both Ren and Z when Zhao embarrassingly reveals it. Zhao asked Ren what he thinks about his proposal, and the two embarrassingly express they don't want it. Afterwards, Zhao urges Ren to go home. The butler shows him the way, but Ru, a member of the dragon tribe, interrupted him. He expressed his disgust at the idea of Ren, a human, becoming Zi's husband, but Zai herself pushes him away. He gets up and glares at Ren, but he got stopped again, this time by Qing, the vice principal of the school. Ren greets him, and Qing invites him to return at the school together. So they both go, and Ru followed them. When they get down from the car, Qing urges Ru to give Ren the Cultivation Art Spirit Concentration Scroll, but he insulted Ren first before giving it. Because of that, Qing reprimanded him for his disrespectful speech. Some others that witnessed it made remarks on their vice principal's polite behavior. Before they leave, he reminded Ren to try his best cultivating. While Ren is taking a look at the scroll, someone pat his shoulder. When he turns around to see it, he saw his friends who teases him for becoming Zi's fiancé and the vice principal's son-in-law. He strongly denies the accusation, but Jaein said the news already spread around their campus. All of a sudden, they saw the figure of Yujia, Ren's crush, fiddling through her phone. When they cast a quick glance her way, one of his friends, MANHWA, informs him that he trusts Ren wouldn't act inappropriately behind Yujia's back. Ren immediately covers his mouth so that no one can hear him when he talks about Ren's love confession. Ren blames him about her interaction to Yujia, which became awkward. All of a sudden, he noticed Yujia is looking at them, but while he gazes at her, she turns her face the other direction and runs away. After Jaein teased him that Yujia has a crush on him too, his phone suddenly vibrated, and when he opens it, he saw Yujia's text. Ren was happy after reading it. He tells her that it was just a misunderstanding when people said some men took him away. She tells him she's worried about him and invites him to walk together after class. He views that as an opportunity to tell her the whole situation. The ring of the school bell resounds. The guys in the room didn't seem to mind their appearance until someone shouted that their teacher, Su, arrives. All of a sudden, their face has gotten way cooler. Su entered the room with a large bag in her hand. When she reached the table, all of the guys shout to get her attention. She put the bag in the table and warns the students who sent him love letters that they'll receive an F in exam if they do it again. Afterwards, she immediately started her class. MANHWA says that whoever they are, they deserve the F, but Jaein is one of them and seems to enjoy it. Su heard them and told them to be quiet. Ren whispers to MANHWA about Su's coldness. That is apparently the reason why she has no boyfriend, but Su noticed it and yells at him to focus. Dejected, he opens his phone and texted Yujia, inviting her to a dinner after class. Yujia immediately saw his text. Time passed and the bell rang again, this time to signal the end of the class. Ren and Yujia walks together right after leaving the room, but all of a sudden, Su calls him to come to her office. Because of jealousy, MANHWA cries and Jaein locks Ren's neck into his shoulder. Meanwhile, Yujia seems to worry about Ren. In Su's office, she mysteriously asked Ren which side is he on. This question made Ren baffled. All of a sudden, Su grabs his hand and makes him outbalanced. She puts her palm in Ren's stomach and blue light appeared. Strangely, she got taken aback after. She restrains Ren's movements and asked him why a human would have the aura of the East Ocean Dragon tribe. And Ren replied that he just accidentally swallowed a dragon core, so she released her hold. She finally let him go and says she'll just confirm what he said through the tribe themselves. While Ren is wondering why Su knew about dragons, she unexpectedly restrained his movement once again by locking his neck. Su threatened to kill him if he tells anyone about the dragon tribes. Confused, he asked her who she really is, and Su reveals she's an inspector. When the night came, Ren is trying to cultivate the arts, but afterwards, he sighs for not having a good result, even for days of cultivating. His phone suddenly vibrated, and he receives a text of dinner invitation from Jao himself. He becomes more dispirited when he thought about having a dinner with the Dragon King's family. At dinner, Zhao's wife, Hanyu, offers him seafood, and he accepts it with a troubled face. Z noticed it and yells that it's her favorite. Meanwhile, Zhao got stopped by Hanyu for trying to get meat. Ren unexpectedly inquired about what an inspector is. Zhao gets alarmed and asks whether he has already encountered one. Ren tells him about Su, and Hanyu surprisingly recognized her. She tells Ren that inspectors are supervisors to dragon-related matters and advises him to keep his distance from them. Ren is surprised that they're that powerful. Zhao teaches him the existence of 8 cultivation realms. He revealed that most of the inspectors can reach the 8th or even higher from that. He told him that Su can even defeat 2 Qing combined. Ren imagines what that scenario is and was amazed that Su is strong. Zhao reminds him not to let his guard down as the inspectors can just execute anyone they consider guilty. But he also assures him that they won't let it happen. He tells him that once he got a legal identity as one of the dragon tribes, the inspectors can't just disturb him. Hanyu inquires about the state of his cultivation, but unfortunately, all he can tell her is that it's not going well. When he says that his cultivation is not going well, Hanyu shows a worried expression. Even so, she still comforts and gives Ren encouragement. Afterwards, she asks him to help Z in her English lessons, but Zai herself opposed to the idea. Ren felt insulted, so he fought back. But Z didn't like what he said, so she left after throwing a tantrum. To make it worse, Ren yells at her even after she went in her room. Zhao and Hongyu felt troubled, and they apologized for Z's attitude. While walking him to the exit, Hongyu tells Ren that even if Z acted like that, she still has good intentions. Afterwards, Ren bids goodbye to the couple. While on his way home, he contemplates Hongyu's statement about Z having good intentions. But suddenly, upon checking his pocket, he noticed that his cards and wallet are gone. He immediately runs to go back to Zhao's place where he left it. When he arrives, he saw Zhao and Hongyu having a conversation about him. Zhao told his wife to listen to Z's wish of not telling Ren about a particular thing, but Hongyu disagrees. She tells Zhao that Ren needs to cultivate and ultimately transfer half of the dragon core to Z within 3 years, or else she will die. But contrary to what Hongyu wants, Zhao doesn't want Ren to feel guilty when he found out Z is risking his life to protect him. Hongyu mentions their other option, but still hesitates because it'll lead to Ren's death. Having heard all of these, Ren realizes how much Zai is sacrificing just so that he can continue to live. He scans his body, who have dragon scales in hand and a dragon core inside. He leaves the house thinking about helping Z in her lessons tomorrow. While all of these is happening, Z is silently staring in the moonlight. Meanwhile, when Ryu and an old man was informed that Zai will die before she hit 20s, they strongly suggest to forcefully take the core inside Ren. The old man also agrees, and just when Ryu plans to leave and kill Ren, Z enters the room and stops their plan. Ryu embarrassingly defends his scheme, but Z tells him that Ren is innocent. She yells her unwillingness to take his life just to save hers. Zhao laughs. He pats Z's head to assure her, because he has an idea in mind. Afterwards, Z screams into her pillow because she doesn't want to kill nor marry Ren. The day after, Ren knocks in Z's door to help her with the lessons. Z just slightly opens it, and Ren threatens her to open it fully or else he will tell Hongyu. However, Z still refused. Ren then goes off to Hongyu, but before he does, Z finally opened the lock to stop him. She suddenly stumbles, and Ren catches her with his body, but she immediately jumps away to keep distance. She leads him into the room, but she still stops Ren from entering. Unfortunately, the lock and door handle breaks, and she got slightly blown away. Ren crossed his arms and teases her. Z touches her back that was aching due to the accident. She gets her notebook and suddenly throws it towards Ren so that he can check it out. Surprised he was not able to dodge, so he got hit in the head. Z was astonished. She asked him why he didn't dodge and was surprised because she assumed he suddenly got stupid because of being hit. Surprisingly, Ren pats her head instead of lashing out at her. Z was flustered because of suddenly getting caressed. Embarrassed, she asks him to get his hand out of her. Afterwards, Ren gently urges her to start their English lessons. This makes Z confused of his sudden change of behavior. Ren starts to analyze Z's lessons before he teaches her the mistakes she made in her homeworks. Unfortunately, Z is having trouble to understand the lectures. As hours passes by, she tries her best to absorb what she can, but she's still having difficulties. Eventually, she got tired of doing it. Ren teases her childish behavior, and he invites her to play a game before they continue again. Suspicious that he'll tell Hongyu about it, Zai finds it hard to believe. So Ren joined him as her accomplice. Z regained her high spirits. Excited about the game, she played it with all she got, only to get a game over in the end. Ren pesters her lack of game skills, so she got mad about it. All of a sudden, he sits behind her and takes control of the game. He tells Z some helpful game tactics, but she doesn't believe it will work. In the end, he stands up and let her control the game. Z shouts her victory as she finally wins it. He asks her if his tactics worked, but Zai only admits that she's the one who made the tactic a success. However, she finally acknowledges Ren's usefulness. All of a sudden, Hongyu enters the room with a plate of food in her hands, but she got surprised at the nice atmosphere between the two, so she immediately takes her leave, not even giving the food. Zai and Ren got confused about Hongyu's actions, then they finally realized how close their distance is. Embarrassed, Ren instantly jumps away to the bed to maintain their space. The two became flustered as they give each other side glances. To break the ice, Z asks Ren how his cultivation going. Still blushing, Ren tells her that he feels something missing, so he can't get progress. Z sees this as an opportunity for her to teach Ren, but the word she says seems cold. Even so, Ren is happy that she volunteered to teach him. Z gets up from her seat to give Ren a thumbs up and assures him she got this. Afterwards, she tells him that there are 3 levels of the Spirit Concentration Scroll. The first level is to communicate with heaven and earth, while purifying the body at the same time. The second is to guide the energy to strengthen the body. And the last level is to release that energy. Only then that he can cultivate more advanced techniques. As Ren is imagining it as a super being with a large ball above his hands, Z reminds him not to miss even a single level of the technique. Afterwards, she tells him that all things can reinforce each other. After explaining that the scroll is a water cultivation technique, and he needs to balance the softness and hardness of the water to successfully cultivate it, Ren focused and closed his eyes to achieve the state that he needs for cultivation. All of a sudden, a blue little ball appeared between his palms. A small water droplet suddenly drops, making a sound, and when he opens his eyes, he finally entered the state inside his mind. He saw mysterious white random lines, and after that, his mind and body absorbed the energy and aura that comes within himself. Sweat is running down his face when he wakes himself up. After he makes a victory pose, Z was happy that he made a breakthrough because of her teachings. Grateful, Ren says that it's because she's a princess, and it made Z more embarrassed. She told him to leave because their lectures are over. Before going his own way, he assures her that he'll be back to teach her English lessons on another day. Zhao and Hanju also bids Ren a temporary goodbye as he leaves their mansion. But suddenly, Z yells at him from the veranda to encourage him to keep cultivating. In response, he gladly gives her a thumbs up. The next day, Ren's classmates are mysteriously gossiping about him, but when he turns around to look at them, they stop talking as if nothing is happening. Ren is confused about their actions that seem to be secretly staring at him. Suddenly, he views his phone and looks at his previous text conversation with Yujia. As he powers it off, he embraced himself to explain to her the whole situation, which he was not able to do due to Sue's interruption. Surprisingly, someone talks to him, teasing about his sudden popularity. It was Yujia, who listed the girls who encountered Ren, such as Sue and the limo who took him. Ren was cool and just slightly surprised she's interested in gossips. Yujia just smiled at him.